And I'm crying because I hear him crying.
Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. What is going on? It is your girl, Orly C. And as always, I want to say a huge thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. If you're new here, hello, welcome. Do me a quick favor, click my picture and you are officially subscribed and you are one of my newest divas, and I welcome you with arms wide open. I'm totally kidding. But I do welcome you with open arms. So you guys, I'm so excited. I've wanted to do this video on my channel for a very, very long time, and I'm part of this awesome group on Facebook called V Loves Collab, and I'll post that link as well as Lindsay, who's hosting this collab, and it is your birth story. So seeing my daughter's fighting me on a nap right now, I said, perfect timing, let's record. So it's gonna be two stories. So the story of my son and the story of my daughter. So with my son, he was due on January 30th and he came January 29th. It was a really scary birth, to be quite honest. So I went in days before he was due, and I was having Braxton Hicks, but I wasn't sure. It was my first kid. I don't know, am I having contractions or not? So Braxton Hicks, and we went in, and I was doing NST, which is non-stress tests. So we went in, and my son wasn't moving, but I could feel movement in my stomach. And so the nurses were like, okay, why don't we try this? So they gave me apple juice and they gave me like a cookie or something on stress test. It's so stressful when the baby doesn't want to cooperate. Pretty much my son, Joshy, he was playing possum. He was like, leave me alone, I don't want to play right now. So I failed the test twice. And I looked at my husband and he's like on the phone with my doctor, and he's white. He's white as a ghost. And I'm like, babe, what's going on? Like, I'm freaking out, mind you. For a stress test, you're already admitted into the hospital. So we're staying here. And I'm like, yeah, until like, you know, Josh moves. And he's like, no, you're gonna have the baby. And I'm like, yeah, no joke. So I was like, what? Both of us look at each other, and you guys, my husband's like, okay, we need to get the WD box. And so the WD box, it's like a little box, you attach it to the TV, you plug it in, and then you're able to view movies and like stream things. Like laughter at this point, and I'm crying at the same time because I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna meet our son. So they check me and they're like, okay, you're about like half an inch dilated. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Fast forward, so I get induced. And so they use Cervidil, and usually a bunch of my girlfriends that have had it, it takes an hour, a couple of hours to work. 12 hours later, guys, they check me and they're like, okay, good, really great. You are 1 centimeter dilated. What? I'm 1 centimeter dilated. What? Okay, fine. My son was playing possum, like I said, but at this point, I'm like, okay. I'm like, little man, you're getting evicted now. Now that I've been here 12 hours and I'm excited and daddy's like talking about the WD box, it's time. Like, we've been induced, put in the comments below, but you know, you're having forced contractions. Things start progressing me and they're like, okay, so you're at about a 2.5. I'm like, what the heck? You guys, I was in labor for 35 hours, 35 hours. Just like, look, I'm gonna break your water because I need to progress, because, you know, we want to make sure he's okay and all that fun stuff. Trickle, trickle, trickle. And I was like, oh, I feel like I'm peeing myself. All of a sudden, whoa, gosh, not kidding you. I swear it was like, I don't even know. But again, put in the comments below. If you're laughing right now, I hope I'm making you laugh, because these birth stories are amazing. Because honestly, thank God for the drugs. And if you had unmedicated birth, I'm applauding you, because frickin' A, wow, you're strong. It's time to push. I was tired, and she's like, okay, let's push. And I'm like, oh my God, like if you've ever had to push a baby out, yeah? It's terrifying. 2 of the contractions, and my son's heart rate went up to 200, 220, and that's really, really, really high. So it is terrifying. So all of a sudden my doctor says, okay, prep for emergency C-section. Looking out, I've never had surgery. We're cutting through the whatever layer. Now mind you, they pumped me with some good drugs. I was so just like so loopy, but I was still awake. 15 minutes, they're like, okay, we're getting closer. All of a sudden, I remember feeling like tugging, and then all of a sudden they lift him over the thing, and if I have video, I will insert it right here because I'm gonna cry right now thinking about it because I've never said my stories. My son, beautiful, 8 pounds, 7 ounces, beautiful, breathing on his own, everything perfect. He checked out beautifully, and oh, wow, I've never talked about this. There's everything, and when they were sewing me up, I was out, guys. I was falling asleep. So fast forward to you're in the recovery room. Well, because I had a fever, my son had to be in the NICU. If anyone is watching this and your kid has been in the NICU or is currently, my heart truly goes out to you because the NICU, it's such an impersonal thing because you have to walk in and wash your hands, and there's little babies. We saw babies that were like a pound and a half, 4 pounds, 2, 3, and my son is 8'7". So once everything was okay, I went 10 hours later and I was up walking. Not walking fast, but the recovery from a C-section freaking sucks. You don't realize when you're lying down, when you're pulling yourself out of bed, you're using your muscles that were just cut up. I see my son, and even the nurse was like, Orly, I want to tell you, I've never seen a mom 10 hours after surgery get up to see her kid. Get up and start walking. I said, my kid's in the NICU. I worked hard for him. I want to see him. So I'll insert a picture here. I'm like pale as a ghost in this picture, but I just got to see my son in the NICU. He was perfect. Everything checked out. The one thing that sucked with my son's birth, I didn't get to hold my son in our room until 3 days after. With a C-section, you're in the hospital 4 to 5 days. I was in my arms. So my son was born January 29th at 1:24 a.m. in the morning, worth every single thing in the world. Okay, whew. Forward to my daughter. My daughter's birth, completely different, guys. I was like, I really wanted to try for a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. My doctor at Kaiser, she was such a cheerleader for me. She was always motivating me. And it's funny, the story real fast, when I was 36-ish weeks, my daughter was breech. And I was like, well, there goes that. Section and baby turns like 20 minutes before. And I'm like, okay, sure. So no joke, that night after that appointment, I went home, I was like on all fours. I was like, come on, baby. And I was like rotating my body and doing what I could. In my head, it made sense. Obviously, it was doing nothing probably. You guys, no joke, my 38.5 week appointment, my daughter was not breech. So I always say everything happens for a reason. My son was C-section because he was freaking 8 pounds and 7 ounces. My daughter was 6 pounds, 14 ounces. So anyway, I was having contractions pretty much all day. I'm gonna go take a bath because I've heard with a bath, it alleviates. Little did I know, nobody told me this fun fact. When you're in the bath, it feels amazing, it calms you down. As soon as you get up, those contractions go like, they hit you hard. I screamed. I was like, Adam, I think it's time. On the way to the hospital, I had those contractions where you're talking 1 minute and then you're like, and I was like, okay, these are contractions, this is legit. So we go in, I get checked, and they're like, okay, you're about a 2.5. So I progressed like half a centimeter from the day before to when we got to the hospital. We can't check you in until you're 3. And so I'm like, my husband's like, okay, let's walk around. I'm like, easy for you to say. I'm walking around, you guys, with my husband because I was like, okay, let's do it. And I'm holding on to him and I was squeezing my, I'm like, Adam, I have to sit. After an hour walking around, I was like, babe, I'm done. And they're like, okay, you're about 3.5. I was like, all that work, 3.5. They're like, we can admit you. I'm like, yay. I'm like, babe, I need an epidural. I'm done. Like, we call for the epidural, and you guys, I didn't get my epidural until I was 7 centimeters. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was squeezing this baby out. Even though my water hadn't broke, I was just, pushing was doing something in my head maybe and in my body. In between contractions, I was like, are you done? And he's like, okay, third time's a charm. Finally, I smile like this. And you guys know, if you've had an epidural, once it hits you and the cold in your back and it feels amazing. I was like, bye, Sean. So fast forward, active labor. I was in active labor for 8 hours, guys, that's it. Night nurse said, look, you're gonna have some pain. You're feeling more with the epidural starting to wear off, and breathe through these last ones. I'm telling you, the further the baby gets down, the less work you have to do. And I love her so much. 3 pushes, less than 15 minutes, and the nurses were like, wow, you either really wanted to get her out or she was ready. I'm tearing up right now because I was like, oh my God, am I actually having a successful VBAC? Like, you hear all these stories and you guys, 8 hours, 3 pushes, less than 15 minutes, and I had my daughter in my arms. I'm crying right now. On July 23rd at 6:14 a.m., 20 minutes before my doctor, my cheerleader, was on schedule, I had my daughter. And a funny thing, sorry guys, I'm getting emotional because I've never said these stories out loud, and it's emotional. It really is. Like I said, my daughter was 6'14", she was perfect, everything beautiful. My birth stories, guys, 2 completely different stories. Let me know your story below, because I love hearing about, you know, all the things, because honestly, whatever gets that little miracle in your arms safely, who cares how it happened? But the after part when I was getting sewn up, let me tell you, I don't know why, I thought the thread was gonna be like this. It's like this. I just remember the guy going, woo, and I was still like in medicine world and a little like high from, you know, that epidural and all that stuff. But it was amazing experience, you guys. It's amazing what we do, regardless whether it's C-section, whether it's vaginally, VBAC, or whatever it is, unmedicated, medicated, home birth. Like, it's amazing what we do. And I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry I got a little emotional, but it's my babies. And now my kids are 5 and 2. And I love it. In the comments below, how was your birth? Was it what you expected? Was it according to birth plan? My birth plan went out the door with my son for sure, and my daughter was exactly how I wanted it to happen. So that's it, guys. I'm so emotional. As always, please give the video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the support. I love each and every single one of you, truly from the bottom of my heart. Thank God we forget. Thank God we have drugs, and if you're not drugged up, thank goodness so many things are happening at once that we do end up forgetting, and we just remember holding the baby in our arms. So I'm gonna stop because I don't want to cry. See you in the next video. Bye.